and I'm done. Usually with the standard set of tables and procedures that are important for me as a database, whatever job I did. Usually this was just the same database, but a slightly large version. There are any number of standards or corporate reasons not to include extra databases on your instance, but none of them really make sense. The DBA database, in any administrative tax. Yep, and that was the end. I wasn't sure if that was the end, but it is the end, so we're going to stop. I'm curious what you think. Let me, and we'll stop there. 3, 2, 1, 0. Take one. A hub. Hub and spokes. Success, or maybe both. However, just take two. How many of the developers are willing to write import routines that blah, 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 blah. Not really what I wanted to say, but that's what came out. Take two. Done. Still want to do this all the time. Many years ago, we had water running everywhere, and it was just this big problem. Many years, one of the recommendations I learned long ago in the security area is something, and you should always follow something security recommendations. This is affecting others. I didn't read it all, but I'm done. That was a long sentence. Big data's in the news, and something. Big blah, 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 blah. And stop. Now, personally, I'd like to see C. I said C too many times, right? Am I saying C or C? C. I'd actually like to see C. And we'll stop there. All right, I don't know how important marketing is, but I got to deal with it. And I broke something. I'm Steve Jones, called Marketing Data is Exploding. Or as my son would say. I've linked to Short Pete in the editorial. Well, something. We're going to do time off. Time off. Let's forget about it. Let's get away from here. Let's go vacation. Hi, welcome to the voice. And I lost my place completely with my hands. Alrighty then. Let's get ready to do something today, because we got to do something. Now, as much as the new most of us find our jobs otherwise you might end up otherwise you might find out yourself otherwise you might find that otherwise you might not find yourself saving any money at all. Steve Jones, the voice of the DBA podcast. I couldn't get that sentence out. A few years ago, Power Pivot was released, and I heard that there was, something. There was something. Developers say they're drowning in work. This is drowning. And I forgot a paragraph there. As with most things, as with most, yeah. As with, I can't say it. As with most things. Boy, that's a tough sentence. As with most things in business, communication and compromise help drive us forward to better decisions in the future. Well, that was horrible. As with so many other things in business, It's like this, actually. Could have tax implications, could make more sense for you, but really the still moving my arms a lot. I don't know. Should you? Do you need to learn everything? I don't know. That's why I'm doing this. What do you think? Boy, hopefully I can read that. That's pretty far away now. I wonder if you can see my eyes at this distance going back and forth. Of course it broke. Broke. It's good. I lost my connection. Flippin' frackety flick flack flow. Oh, there we go. Now it's going to work. There's no shortage of the need for DBAs to manage database systems. And this is manage. Run the system and make sure that it runs smoothly. Just as smoothly. One of the mantras that guided Google for many, many years and through much of its... All right, do another one. We're going to do data v gut in the data v gut battle. Which one wins? Let me know. I don't know where data is. This is gut feel. I don't know where hard data is. Here, hard data. I don't know. It's going to be well received and approved and something else. This is, well, I don't know. Apparently I don't know how to talk. I found my place. Being affected by time zones because I just flew back from England, so I'm needless to say, this is one that's kind of I don't know, something to me, something that matters. It seems like I don't know. Here's the code. It's probably bigger than this though. 3, 2, 1. This is where you look at code. I ad-libbed a little there, so we'll edit. Yes, I keep a list of books that I want to look for in the future because, when I'm looking for a book, sometimes I want to go back and say, hey, is there something I really wanted to read I forgot about? My memory. I can't remember. Danger, Steve Jones, danger. All right, we'll see if this works. I had my podcasting thing working well when I held them really close together, but I would think that when I'm connected to a network, I don't need to hold the devices closer together. The long pause there for the editing guy, which is me, is because I got lost. So many of our decisions these days are based on hard data, but are we actually collecting the correct data or collecting? Messed up again. Data. I think most people see Microsoft as an important part of the tech world, but not necessarily the company that just dominates the industry and everybody follows their lead. This is follow. Or maybe this is dominate. I don't know. I don't know anything. One of the interesting things in that piece was a note that, now I got to get up again. That's how people are graded. And one done. And nothing working. Security might be improving, connectivity is not improving. I can tell you that firsthand right now. Personally, I think the increased press and attention, media, et cetera, that has been given to attacks, as well as, the somethings, and I didn't really have too many mistakes. Maybe all the technical difficulties make it easier for me to concentrate. I don't know. Try not to move too much. Just a little hand movement here. Got to move something. One of the challenges of small companies and their software has always been the cost. A lot of companies really look to open source software, open source products, to cut down on the investment they have to make for the specific reason. It just costs less. However, if there weren't such a high price to the software, I think many companies would probably go with the name brands of software that many of us work with every day. Years ago, I remember working for a small company and being in charge of writing their entire inventory and sales system. Just as we were preparing to start programming the new version of the system, an SAP sales rep called our company and made a pitch to the owner. The owner was impressed, and he asked the rest of us to spend a few weeks looking at SAP. Now, we knew we couldn't afford the full SAP software version, much less purchasing a bunch of servers that we would need to run it, but at the time, SAP had just released a cut-down version of their software for small businesses. Ran on one server. We didn't buy it then because it was still expensive, and I'm glad because we really had a unique business model that benefited from custom programming, but it was interesting to look at what was available from other vendors. These days, all sorts of companies are looking to get started in new areas or try new ideas. Many of them don't necessarily want to make large IT investments at the start. It's not only hardware and software, but really it's IT expertise to manage these systems. I know if I were starting a business or even working with a small business as a developer or consultant, I'd seriously consider looking at cloud services. The breadth of these offerings and with the tons of features, the low investment cost, the lack of administration, they really level the playing field between what a small company and a large one can do with technology. There are lots of opportunities here. If you're looking to work with a small business or maybe start one of your own, you really ought to take a look at the cloud offerings. You might be surprised at what you can get for very, very little initial investment. But I'd be curious what the rest of you think. I'm Steve Jones for the Voice of the DBA podcast. I know most people don't like it, but Word in the cloud and mail in the cloud is just the best way to do it. Oh, it's working. That's cool. All too often, though, when I write these editorials, I see comments from people in the discussions that, that do something. They actually do something. They actually find another job. And I'm shaking my head if I can't shake my hands. Good advice, and I like the analogies he uses, but the key takeaway is that, something. You don't have to want to be an evangelist like Grant Fritchie or me to have this, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to want to be an evangelist like Grant Fritchie, me. Me. Grant Fritchie, me. And we'll call it quits there because I think I've messed up enough today. And now I made my ear itch. Recently I was reading this piece on scaling Dropbox that I've linked in the editorial and it's worth checking out. Something in it caught my eye. I went sideways there. Probably afraid, though, that you probably constitute a minority. Probably. I'm afraid, though, you probably constitute a majority. No limits. None. It's not take 10, it's take 1, but no limits. No markers. And that means I'm serious when I turn my head. Hi, welcome to the Voice of the DBA podcast. I'm Steve Jones. I can't remember my name. Allow the instance to do some of the work for the administrator. Trying not to move my hands too much. So I couldn't talk there. Copy. The Control-C, Control-C poll. One of the interesting facts that I saw a few years ago, something. It's coming.